you get this fracturing in the US where, if we're calling them tribes, I mean, I don't know what tribes would identify apart from the sort of the mainstream, the sort of the American tribe, as you call it, but whatever. If there is that fracturing between them, I can't see any mechanism that pulls this back together, and therefore it does come down to disintegration.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I think is important about the Scott Adams thing, now that we can get away from the concept of race, right? Because race is determinate, right? You can leave and join a tribe. We see this all the time. Did you see the?
Okay, good point.
Did you see? There was some white girl in America who had done like some rap video. She looked like she was in like the deep south or something, but doing like an urban rap video. And it was the most cringe thing you've ever seen. It was really embarrassing.
Right.
But what's she signaling there? She's saying, I've joined the black tribe. I've joined the urban tribe.
Fine.
Right? I've taken on their aesthetic. I'm singing their songs. I'm speaking their language.
Yes.
I've joined that tribe, Yeah. And that's what she's signaling. And it's like, that's fine. You can join a tribe and you can leave a tribe, because it's predicated on how you feel about them and how they feel about you. Right? There's no contract to sign. There's no set of rules that you abide by. It's informal.
Well, you signal it through a series of social norms, through dress, through behaviours, through manners of speech.
Exactly, right? And so,
which is exactly the same as a tribe would have done 500 years ago.
And it's exactly the same how we are tribal still. Like we just don't.
Oh yeah,
we don't
massively.
admit we're tribal.
Yeah, massively.
And like I did a book club on the English Are They Human, and that's a fascinating look from a Dutch professor about what is essentially the tribe of the English, the customs, the norms. And it's literally small things like how you say thank you when you get off the bus, right? Like you say thank you there's no reason for you to say thank you.
Yes.
Right. In a social contract society, you don't give a damn about the bus.
Or put the trolley back.
Or put the trolley back, right?
Yeah.
You're not paid to, the rules don't state you have to, and so you are completely within your rights to just walk off. But do you want to live in that kind of thing?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, my perspective of this had taken a real hit.
Well, let me finish this last bit, because I think this is where we tie in Scott Adams, right? So
okay.
The reason that Scott Adams, I think, got so upset about this poll from Rasmussen is what it essentially signaled is that nearly half of the black tribe are only prepared to live in the social contract society. They are not prepared to live in a sentimental society with white people.
Okay,
right?
That's an interesting perspective.
And the problem with the social contract society is the social contract only works and is something you can have faith in if you can trust the people around you to uphold it as well. If they don't care that your constitution, if it's not inscribed in their hearts and minds, if they may be not very concerned about going to jail. They may have a life of being in jail. Like if they are drug dealers and they don't care whether, if they're prepared to form a gang on the street and then beat the living daylights out of a little old
comes
lady.
Back to the whole leftist dynamic of power structures being the most important dynamic.
The social contract is only valid until it's broken. And it's broken constantly.
Yes.
Like we see the videos of the black tribe randomly attacking people, randomly robbing things. All of these things are violations of the social contract, but the black tribe doesn't care because actually the Democrats are ensuring they're not bound by the social contract. They're giving them lenient sentences. They're making excuses for them. Oh, it's not their fault. We just need to give them money. They need reparations, blah, blah. And so what they're saying is essentially these people below the social contract. And so, okay, well, if the social contract doesn't really apply to them, what else do we have other than sentiment? And if they're not sentimental, then we can't live together, is what Scott Adams is saying.
I mean, this is a similar dynamic, quick aside to what Orwell described with the plebs. Coming back to my point about my own relationship with the social contract is, I mean, I wasn't thinking in terms of this sentimental society versus social contract. I mean, that's an interesting way of thinking about it and the sort of tribal dynamic that sort of drives these behaviours. But for me, it was taking a real knock over COVID because I felt that when it really mattered, the people around me did not have my back.
Yeah.
And it is so much harder for me now to give a shit about basically.
I don't care about the current thing. Yeah. I don't care about the current thing.
Well, not even that. I mean, I used to be this is a really small thing, but I used to be really good about letting people out of side turnings when I was driving.
Oh, yeah.
And since COVID, it's like, you would have been happy to have me put in a bloody camp because I didn't take your vaccine.
Well, if it helps, I think the English tribe doesn't agree with that. I've not really met anyone who was really on board with the COVID stuff. They just, but the thing is, we're a very much
I hope you're right.
We're a very much law-abiding society, and we actually have a lot of faith in the government.
Yes.
And it's probably a hangover of World War II that we're so trusting in the government.
Because that was tribalism at its absolute peak there.
Yeah.
Which forms the basis of the Boomer Truth regime.
Exactly. And there's something to be said for it as well, because there was no one on the other side of World War II, right?
Qualify that, because
no, in Britain,
history suggests.
Well, no, not obviously Germans are on the other side.
Yes.
I mean, in Britain, there was no one like, well, maybe we should.
Oh, right. I see what you mean.
Those people lost the argument very, very, very quickly, and Edward had to abdicate and things like this, right?
Yeah, I mean, history does not emphasize, but I'm sure at the beginning there would have been.
There was you could see the slide into no, this is our tribe versus their tribe very, very quickly.
Yes, and which makes it incredibly difficult to resist.
Yes. Absolutely, and so everyone was on the same team. It's hard to imagine the newspapers signaling against the Allies in World War II.
Yes.
Right. But now they signal against the tribe all the time.
Yes.
They're constantly doing it, right? And I can't help but feel that if we did get into a war, and Orwell put this as well, he was saying, look, the intelligentsia of Britain kind of hate Britain and kind of want to see us get kicked. Essentially, he was calling them cucks, right? He wants to see us taking a beating. That they want to see us taking a beating. And I kind of feel that that's what our intelligentsia would be like now, right? There's always been this latent strain of kind of Anglophobia.
Yeah, but they're doing their beating from the power structure to the populace now.
Well, they are now, yeah. But if I think Brexit is a great example of it, actually, because you had the power structure of Boris, and this connection between the regular person, who on average was pro-Brexit, and the government, which suddenly was pro-Brexit, and then all of the institutions in between. Being like, no, we hate this, and essentially declaring war on the British tribe, the Anglo tribe in Britain, and
with that outgroup preference. Okay, so this is a helpful dynamic. So when you're framing it in this context, you are inclined, I think, to take the alternative position to me that American society can be redeemed through the dynamic of bringing people into the mainstream tribe by effectively getting the messaging right, making it attractive?
No, I think it's too far gone, right, frankly. Okay. The thing is, right, the thing that holds sentimental societies together is when both parties have an obligation to one another. Whereas in the social contract society, all they have is the obligation to uphold the laws and enjoy the rights that are given to them by the state. So there would be a massive moral reckoning for the black tribe in America because of what they've done to the other tribes. It's not just the Anglo tribe. Look at what's doing the Chinese. Stop Asian Hate died really quickly when it turned out it was black guys just randomly attacking. Yeah. What about black guys attacking synagogues?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, sorry, what are you doing?
Right? Yeah. We have to remember that at the moment the current vogue is to show videos of black attacks on whites. But actually, I remember it wasn't that long ago when it was
Asians.
Yeah, Orthodox Jews that were those videos are the ones going
just
around.
being attacked in the street. You got curls on your face, right? The black guy's going to come up and smack you. It's like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Right. The problem is that in the sentimental society, everyone needs to feel that they've been done fairly by, right? Because you care about the other person, right? You don't want to be unfair to them.
Yes.
You want them to get what they deserve, right? And that's what constitutes justice.
So I can make a charitable case for the black on other crimes, which is to say that from a very young age, the current system is to indoctrinate a victim mentality that your life is shit, and the reason it's shit is because it is being done to you by the other. Now, I saw how easily people in this country were turned against people like us with a little bit of propaganda. It didn't take long. It basically, you had, I mean, you found yourself being abused in shops.
I never had that experience, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure a lot of people did.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get it as much as I would have liked because I'm quite up for a bit of an argument. But unfortunately, it only happened once, and the poor guy ran off. Anyway, but I saw how quickly we were turned against ourselves. Now, you imagine getting that weapons grade propaganda filed at you from the moment you can basically walk and talk, which is the experience of Black Americans.
And now imagine that
victimized.
There's a massive, well-funded lobby. Imagine every corporation, almost entire wing of politics, every social media, every TV station saying Black Lives Matter. Black people haven't done anything wrong and can do no wrong.
Yes.
Right. If you went up to Ibram X. Kendi or any black leader, Al Sharpton, say, okay, what do the blacks owe to the whites? The question alone probably leave him thunderstruck. What do you mean the blacks owe to the whites? Well, there we go. You can't live in a sentimental society if one side doesn't feel they owe anything to the other, right? Even if it's just something as simple as moral consideration. And this is why Scott Adams was so outraged when half the black community was like, oh, we don't think it's okay to be white. Yeah. Right.
The flip side of that, though, is even though I can understand from one aspect the propaganda pushing this black antagonism towards the majority, and I can understand that through the propaganda that they've been pushed. Actually, when you look at the figures, it's more that there is actually as high as black on white violence is, black on black violence is way higher.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not just propaganda. There are other demographic or cultural issues at play which lead to heightened solving issues through violence.
But I agree with Sol that I think it's the welfare state that's done this to the black community, because it wasn't always like this in the black tribe in America. It wasn't always like this. Like, they used to have literally on parity rates of marriage to whites before the welfare state, because what choice did you have? You didn't have a choice. You weren't going to just get bailed out. The community around you would have completely stigmatized you. It would have been daily. Why aren't you taking care of your kids? Why have you left your wife? You're a piece of shit. You would have got that constantly. And so it keeps families together, right?
That's interesting, because that's not going to be a living memory.
But that stigma's gone now. There's no guilt there now.
To watch the full video, please become a premium member at lotuseaters.com.